Hello again, this is Justin Zimmerman with BuyerGoals.com and taking you inside a new thing I learned this week. And as you can see in front of you, it is my GarageBand interface for mixing things together using the Apple native program. And I'm about to jump into solving a small, itsy bitsy tiny little problem that really makes a huge impact on the quality of what I'm about to jump into, as well as podcasts. As you may or may not know, podcasting has had a resurgence over the last couple of years as consumers, particularly wealthy, well-educated consumers, are drawn to podcasts to consume information about the process of learning something, the process of buying something, and getting to the point where they're choosing subject matter experts to align themselves with and build relationships with as authority figures in the genre or niches or segments of the market that they are participating and interested in. And so this is a huge opportunity for companies who recognize this and are recognizing this to build loyal audiences, to demonstrate their knowledge of a particular niche, their authority and expertise in that, and gain the confidence and trust of a huge and growing class of subscribers and buyers. And so what you'll see in front of you is a recent discovery that I made in the production of a podcast for a client that I'm working with to produce the intro. Very simple. The intro, which is really kind of like the headline of an email or blog post, needs to really grab their attention, speak to who they are, talk about what they're going to get, and set up the value proposition for consuming the content that is going to be taking place over the course of however long the podcast is. And I've discovered that there are a couple of components to the beginning of a podcast that, when you break them down, really allow you to think about this from a copywriting perspective. And so what you have are a number of tracks that get produced to help support this. You'll see part one of the track line here. That's the meat of the content. You can consider that kind of the body copy of the entire podcast, and that's broken up into elements and engineered in a very specific way, but that's not the purpose of this particular video today. We're just focusing on the introduction / headline subject line of what you can consider to be a podcast. The next is the background music. It has to have that feel that matches with the brand. And let me tell you, it's not easy to find music that matches the brand when there are so many options and choices out there to choose from sites. But I can maybe put some notes or share the sources of where you get good track music from cheaply in another video. I really want to focus on the small, tiny aspect of what I want to show you here, which is how to blend it all together to make it sound great. So right here is that audio track that I found that really speaks to the branded feel of what my company, my client's brand feels like if it were music played to the beginning of a podcast. And then next, the third line is really two tracks I created. One of them represents what you would call the subheadline, who is this for and why should you listen to this? From the here's what the series stands for, here's what the podcast is about and who it's for, and then the third component is right here, which is the episode information. What are you going to learn specifically in this series? And so you're really going to make two separate statements when talking in the introduction here. There's actually a third one that I did not reference, which is going to be built on in a future point in time, which is kind of the credibility testimonial introduction snippet that you would put in the beginning before jumping to that. But that's a whole other conversation. But I just wanted to give you the quick little bit of understanding of what you're looking at, why it's important, and how to blend them all together, because there's no reason or incentive to blend them together if you don't know why or why you're going to do it. So what I discovered is within GarageBand, and anybody can do this. If you have a Mac, you can jump into and create your own introductions right away. The technical equipment is not necessarily that sophisticated. It's all built in. You might want to get a better microphone. But once you have a microphone that's decent enough to record your voice, you can come in here and lay down tracks. So what I'll show you here are these lines. These yellow lines represent the audio adjustment points for each track along the continuum. And I didn't know this until I had to finagle and play around with it for a while. But what I realized is that you want to start and find music that balances out along the what you would call the 0 decibel. I think it's at 0. Let's see here. Okay, negative 3.4. I have it starting off here, and then this is the voice track. that starts off at 0 decibels and runs the whole way through, meaning the sound volume doesn't change through the introduction. So let's hear these individual tracks, and then we'll hear what they sound like combined together. So I'm going to turn off this one, and I'm going to play the introduction, and you're going to hear what it sounds like when it is blended. And then it should start to slowly get quieter, not surprisingly, because my voice is going to be in the background introducing it. All right, I think you get the point there, and then it'll take another hit downwards. And then we'll listen to them both together. Alrighty, let's put them all together as one. And 1, 2, and 3. Welcome everyone to the KCM Model Member Podcast Series, where we take you inside the businesses of our most successful members and share with you what's working for them. Each episode, we'll pick one member to explore how they design their business model to support their goals and their dreams. So get ready to get absolutely clear on why keeping current matters. For today's episode, you'll be learning from Cindy Allen, a solo agent from Southlake, Texas. She's with the Coldwell Banker franchise and has been in real estate for over 20 years. So you see how all those elements blend together, and so I wanted to give you both a visual example and an auditory example so you can do this for yourself or share this with someone on your team to do it for you, because it's really not that complicated once you understand the principles of what you're driving for and trying to create. And then technically, to mix it together, you would really just come in here and click on the little dots that you create along here. Little dots get created along the yellow line when you point at them, and then you can just bend them up and down to the decibels, and all you're trying to do is match the sound. So when you have the music loud, you don't want it overpowering the vocals, and then when you want things to fade, you just fade them through time. And so that's a little something I learned this week in producing podcast introductions for my clients here at buyergoals.com.